So you went to get your knee checked out, and that's when they found out you had muscular dystrophy?
The orthopedist, so his PA, who is kind of a tool, honestly. I won't mention anything about the organization, but the PA was dismissive because it's not something, and this is something I learned. Actually, I worked at the help desk, actually, kind of between jobs for Baptist Medical Center in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
A lot of specialists will do this blinder thing where they just get so stuck in their lane, and sometimes without like a sort of more holistic idea of things, they can't like point you in the right direction. So the doctor that actually looked at me, the PA actually went out. He's like, "Hey, can you come in here and look at this kid? Like, he has no reflexes in his knees." Which, I mean, I thought, like, fun fact, I have no feeling. I don't know if you actually hear the tapping and like this whole section of my right shin from Muay Thai. Oh, so like I thought maybe it was just from all the impacts, like, because a knee kicking happens like when someone's kicking and you go to check the kick and their knee hits yours. It's like So I thought that it was just about from that, from just training, like just having nerve damage and stuff. I actually have a tattoo on my right shin bone. I couldn't feel any of it except for the top. Some people are like, "Oh, I bet that hurt." Like, bro, it hurts so bad. Like, I'm so tough. Like, you don't even know. I didn't feel most of it. So he came in there and kind of tip-tapped a little bit on me and this thing and, push this way, pull that way, like step up onto this thing. And he was like, "Are there any dystrophies in your family's history?" And I was like, Denial. I just threw my head back. I was like, that couldn't be it. There's no way. No. And I was like, I mean, there are. And so he referred me to Dr. Love, which is absolutely hilarious. It's funny, actually. I was then, so he saw me. It's funny. My mother actually worked at the neurology clinic that Dr. Love worked at, but she worked for another physician.
Oh, okay.
And so she was actually just took like a break and like came and hung out with me and the neurologist, and he like kind of looked at this thing, looked at that thing. And it's really weird though, because this is a myopathy. It's a muscle disease, but it's classified as a neuromuscular disease, which I don't know if it's called that because we don't understand it well or because it affects skeletal muscles. I don't know. But he then referred me to sort of a specialist on this type of disorder. And his name was spelled Dr. Caress. So I went from love to caress. And when I shook his hand, I was like, "Dr. Caress." He's like, "It's Karras." And I was like, "Oh, shit." Like, I bet this guy has to deal with people calling him the wrong name all the time, and I just did it. He's like, "Is he even going to see me now? How annoying." And, then he used a little squishy thing and then, shook my hand and all that. And it's funny because he was at Baptist Medical Center where I ended up working at in IT later. So weird little circles and stuff. And I know you're a car guy. Dr. Love, actually, he owned 4 Porsches. They were all like 80s and 90s Porsches, and his joke was that he could drive one while the other 3 were in the shop. Yeah. So they were basically broken all the time. But he and I kind of bonded over cars too. But
that's cool.
He's retired. The guy sounded like Tom Brokaw too, and he was a workaholic. Like, he'd call you at like 10 p.m.
That's a good doctor.
Yeah,
I like it.
Mr. Sharma, this just in Tel Aviv tonight. Like, wait, what? Seriously, he sounded just like Tom Brokaw. It was bizarre. And if you don't know who Tom Brokaw is, you're too young to date me. It's about the size of it.
Well, you barely know who Tom Brokaw is, right?
Barely, yes. I was very young, but I remember Tom Brokaw. I remember Tom Brokaw as well as I remember Doss. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So there. So call back. So me getting my knee checked out to go back to jiu-jitsu ended up this whole crazy shit. And there's a CPK. It's an enzyme that's present in the blood typically after like muscle breakdown.
Okay.
Not typically, I think it always is. So like probably like back in the days when you were like really into bodybuilding, you were lifting like wicked heavy. There's some times where bodybuilders, when they go like on a really heavy day, they can cause a substantial amount of damage to their muscles.
Sure, yeah.
So their CK or CPK levels are like wicked elevated. So that Dr. Love actually sent me off to get that checked, which was unbelievably high. Like, I forget what the regular numbers were, but it was insane. And then that was a few weeks before I went to see Dr. Caris, not caress.
Yeah.
And I before I went to see the first neurologist, Dr. Love, I looked up some symptoms, signs and symptoms, down the frickin' list, fit every single one.
Wow.
I started crying. I couldn't help it.
What age was this?
That was December of 2010, so I suck at math. What's this year?
21, so that was 11 years ago.
I would have been 23,
yeah.
Right around 23, 22, somewhere in there, because I'm trying to think when my birthday is.
Yeah, about 23.
23, 24, somewhere in there. So, yeah, and there's just this moment where I thought, all the things, it's all gone. Everything's done. Like, all the stuff that I wanted is finished. Like, I can't be any of these things. Like, that's it.
Yeah, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so young.
And, I mean, I just completely spiraled out of control. Like, I just went into, like, binge drinking, like, just going out all the time, staying out to 3 or 4 in the morning. And it was just a very, like, up and down kind of sort of weird, depressive thing. And I became sort of strange and directionless. Actually, when you and I, like, kind of, I guess you could say we worked together when I did some work actually in this building.
Yeah, we had the Ducati dealership. You did the network.
Yeah.
You were on the network. Yeah.
Barely. I was pretty smart then, but not as smart as I am now.
You learned.
I was smarter than the average person. I mean, I was still an
You did a good job. Everything worked, right?
Oh, well.
So, yeah, we didn't have any problems.
Awesome. It feels so good to have hit the bare minimum on something. Thanks.
Everything worked appropriately or properly.
That's what we aim for. Like, if no one wants to talk about it, it means you did a good job.
What did they tell you to expect, or what did they say that you could expect with the disease?
I mean, I was just told to keep active and like, don't eat shit.
Did they give you like a timeline of changes you would experience, or
not really? Mainly because there's so little known about the disease, and as you can see, like, it takes such different kind of turns. Like, even someone with, I'm assuming Duchenne's is what the person you knew had. He like seemed to survive quite a while, longer than one would anticipate. And like I may or may not die from this. But there can be heart involvement sometimes, because dystrophin is present in your heart.